Hello and welcome to our NMEA Google Hangout celebrating World Oceans Day to come on June 8th and featuring two of my great friends and colleagues in the ocean conservation world, Bill Mott from the Ocean Project and Jim Wharton from Seattle Aquarium. So you're going to be hearing from them all about what's happening at a local and global scale with World Oceans Day, how it's being put into practice, how you can get involved, and how the National Marine Educators Association is working to further ocean conservation activities at all levels. So just a little bit about NMEA before we get started. We've been around for about 37 years, and we are the organization, a membership-based organization, working to further ocean literacy and the profession of marine science education at the national level. We're powered by 17 individual chapters throughout our country and have been involved recently in the creation of the European Marine Science Educators Association and work closely with our colleagues in Australia, Japan, and other countries. So we are about a 1,000 membership-based organization at this time, and we'd love to have you join us on some of our efforts. And specifically, during the next 30 minutes, if you want to ask a question to either Bill or Jim, you can use the hashtag #CatchTheCurrent and send us a message on Google+, on Facebook, or Twitter, and we're monitoring all of those handles and social media platforms. So I will just let our two featured panelists introduce themselves, and I'm going to throw them for a curve and ask Bill first to tell us who he represents and your favorite marine science critter and why.
Put me on the spot. My name is Bill Mott. I'm director of the Ocean Project. I've been working with the Ocean Project for about 16, 17 years. I worked on ocean conservation for a number of NGOs before that, starting back in the late 1980s. So I'm a half a century old. I've been around for a while. My favorite ocean critter would have to be Jacques Cousteau. Rest in peace. One of my heroes growing up.
Well played. And Jim, over to you. Tell us about your background, your favorite ocean critter.
Sure. So my name is Jim Wharton. I'm the Director of Conservation and Education at the Seattle Aquarium. I'm also a member of the NMEA board and have been an NMEA member since 2004. My favorite ocean critter, well, I became interested in the ocean because of sharks, but I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go for Pacific spiny lumpsucker because I think it's an underappreciated and incredibly awesome animal.
And now the challenge is to get lumpsucker trending on Twitter.
Good luck.
So, Bill, we're going to start with you since you've been involved with World Oceans Day since the beginning. And the first question that I want to ask you is just tell us about how the idea even came to be. Where and when was that idea created, and what did you hope to accomplish?
Well, the concept for World Ocean Day goes back to 1992 in Rio de Janeiro at the Earth Summit. I was not there, however, so I can't speak for the people that were there. I would imagine there were conversations before that summit as well. But at that point, the Canadian delegation brought forth the concept of a World Oceans Day. It was embraced by some people, and it became unofficially celebrated as June 8th every year. I first heard about it let's see, back in the fall of 2002, I was at a conference in France with aquarium directors, museum folks, some government people, UNESCO was there, some academics, and this concept of World Ocean Day came up in the discussions, and I thought, wow, that's interesting. I've been working since the late 80s in ocean conservation. I never heard of World Oceans Day. So I volunteered at the Ocean Project to help take it on and coordinate it worldwide. And ever since that time, it's been growing slowly but steadily. We've had, I think back in 2002, I don't remember any events in the United States being celebrated around World Oceans Day. There probably were a couple off the radar. But last year, half AZA institutions overall, all aquariums of any significance, were celebrating World Oceans Day. There were about 600 events in 70 countries. And so it's grown quite a bit, but that's still just the tip of the proverbial iceberg. There's a huge potential for it to really grow in the future with partners like NMEA and others like Seattle Aquarium. So we're looking forward to helping it grow and working with NMEA and Seattle and other aquariums to really fulfill its potential to be a rallying point for the world around ocean awareness and ocean action.
And who were the partners and the key players? You mentioned some of them, AZA, over the years. Who did you have to get involved to bring World Oceans Day to the level it is at today?
Well, back at that conference in France, we were meeting with, well, Paul Boyle was there. He's now at AZA. Bert Vescalani was also there. But the World Oceans Day team that kind of coalesced around that conference was Jean-Michel Cousteau, Philippe Valette, who's the head of the Nausicaa Aquarium in France, and then a couple of other folks, including myself, obviously. But we got together and decided one of the first goals for us would be to make it official, to make it UN recognized. And excuse me, at that point we decided to develop an online petition, and a petition that could be circulated at World Oceans Day events worldwide to have people sign up and ask the United Nations to officially recognize June 8th as World Ocean Day. And it took a few years, but it did happen. The General Assembly at the United Nations passed a resolution in December of 2008. So 2009 was the first officially recognized by the UN, officially recognized World Oceans Day.
And oh, go ahead.
I was going to say we've had, you know, the typical problems of lack of resources and overcommitted staff to really grow it as much as we'd like to. So it's been growing, like I said earlier, slowly but surely. Ever since the UN officially recognized it, however, it's really gone on a nice little trajectory. Alyssa Issachower has been helping coordinate it worldwide for us for the last few years, and she's really helped tremendously. So it's you know, as one of our colleagues told me last week on the phone, it's growth industry. It's really looking very positive for the future, for not just raising awareness about the oceans, but helping people to take action, changing personal behaviors, getting involved in their communities, and bringing about some real societal changes for the ocean.
And one of the things I found fascinating talking to you recently was about your conversations this year at the UN and what you're trying to get accomplished. And walk us through what it's like to go to the UN and talk about World Oceans Day and some of the changes that they're hoping to put in place this year.
Well, it's a pretty exciting place to be. I was lucky enough to be on a panel there a few years ago when they were celebrating World Oceans Day at the UN for the first few years. They focused internally at the delegation level, trying to increase awareness about the oceans and the issues facing the ocean. They got the Empire State Building to be blue, which was kind of a cool symbolic gesture. But until this past year, they hadn't really reached out externally. So last fall, they reached out to us for the first time proactively, which was very exciting. They have some new staff people in that division that's leading World Oceans Day within the UN family, and they have some really good ideas for building this up, making it, you know, a huge worldwide event like it needs to be. Right now, it's a worldwide event. I wouldn't say it's huge, but as I was referring to earlier, there's such great potential. It's kind of like I liken it to being a tween. You know, it's pretty young. It's got a huge amount of potential, and there's a number of different directions where it could go depending on the partners we're working with. And that's one of the reasons why we want to work more closely with NMEA, because we want to choose the right partners to help grow this event worldwide.
It's very exciting, and I know, like any project, there were certainly some barriers along the way. So can you tell us about some of those? Did you encounter any barriers, and if so, how did you overcome them?
No barriers.
Justin.
No. You know, it's kind of like apple pie. There's nothing too controversial about World Ocean Day. One of the issues we have faced, like I referred to earlier, has been a lack of resources, dedicated resources. We've never had dedicated resources for World Oceans Day. We've had the luck of having foundations like the Munson Foundation, who have been very generous to provide us general support funding, which I've used then to help pay for World Oceans Day coordination. We're also getting some support from aquariums this year and a couple of museums and other institutions as sponsoring partners, which is really helpful to help grow this event like it should be. And you know, one of the barriers has been it's a new event. It took a while to get some traction within the aquarium world, the zoo world, museum world, the schools, but it's one of those things that spreads word of mouth really quite well, and it's a positive thing. World Oceans Day, celebrating our ocean connections. Most everybody has a positive emotional connection to the ocean in some way, and we're just trying to tap into that in a much bigger collective way, in a coordinated way, and try to unite our partners and organizations around the world to do more with that one day, but also to use the day as it's a birthday for the oceans, an anniversary for the ocean, but as a gathering point for collecting information about people that then they can cultivate those interested people throughout the year. So it's not just a one-off, one day each year, but it's a rallying point and then a way to collect information with people who are interested and help cultivate them throughout the year to keep going on that ladder upward and sustainability actions, essentially. One of the funny barriers that we face within the United Nations, and this is not this is second, third hand, but when we were trying to get the UN to officially recognize World Oceans Day, the rumor had it the Chinese government wanted nothing to do with World Oceans Day because they were sick and tired of too many official days. And it took some other delegations to finally convince the Chinese, I guess, to go along with that concept, which was fortunate. I was at a conference in China at one point, and our website was blocked. So I don't know if there was a connection there. I'm not sure what was going on, but we have been working with people in China, aquariums in China, very interested in World Oceans Day. It's a little challenging to work with that nation, but that's we're really looking to grow World Oceans Day in that part of the world, especially since there's so much potential in Asia and there's so many issues in Asia, and it is a global event, so we need to go beyond our borders and work with everybody around the world. It's one ocean that unites us, essentially.
That is a great segue to my last question for you in this part, which is the burning question: why World Oceans plural Day rather than one ocean? Because of course in the ocean literacy movement we're fighting very hard for the recognition that we all share one ocean. And
yes.
You.
That's a perennial issue that comes up. Personally, I support the one ocean, singular ocean concept. That's what we promoted from the get-go as World Ocean Day. One ocean, one climate, one future for us, essentially, on this planet. For whatever reason, the United Nations chose to go with the plural. They didn't check with us, obviously. They didn't ask us. They just went with that, and it's I'm fine with it. There's 5 oceans officially on this planet. There's the Pacific, the Atlantic, the Indian, Arctic, Southern Ocean, Antarctic Ocean. That's the last one, the last official ocean. So, I'm fine with the plural. I don't think it really matters too much. It's the idea of celebrating the ocean connections wherever we live, whether they live in Kansas or California or Connecticut. I think it's, some people really get tied down in the weeds with ocean versus oceans. I'd rather focus on just getting people more aware and actively involved in helping protect the oceans.
Great. Well, thank you. So let me turn now to Jim and talk about putting some of this into practice, and tell us about what World Oceans Day means from a practical point of view at the aquarium.
Sure. So we do a couple of things at the Seattle Aquarium around World Ocean Day. We have a big weekend, so we have World Ocean Weekend, so it's a big opportunity for us to draw people into the aquarium. We're looking at World Ocean Day as kind of an opportunity to start a conversation. So we do oceans all the time, so we don't really need World Ocean Day to talk about oceans. So when we think about how are we going to celebrate World Ocean Day, how are we going to use it to draw people in and excite them, we've taken on a theme of being an ocean hero. So everything that people do when they come to the aquarium on World Ocean Weekend is centered around how people can help the ocean. So we don't want to make it like a horror story about all of the things that people are doing to the ocean. We want to make it about how people can help the ocean become healthier and how that helps us all. So World Ocean Weekend is all about being an ocean hero. And then the other thing that we do, we have a group of teens that run an advocacy program on ocean issues. And Bill's probably very familiar with this group because we worked with the Ocean Project and Deb Kerr from Youth Muse to set it up originally. And what they do every World Ocean Day is Hour for the Ocean. So they take online pledges for people to spend 1 hour helping the ocean. It's very flexible, so it's whatever you feel like you can do for an hour to help the ocean, even if that means going and having a nice sustainably sourced seafood meal, or if it means going on a beach cleanup. Just commit to spend an hour for the ocean.
And since our last hangout was all about Youth Ocean Conservation Summits, those are also the teams that are planning a Youth Ocean Conservation Summit out in Seattle as well.
That's right. Yeah, it's the same group, inspired by Sean Russell and his original summit, and we'll be having the second satellite summit out here in the fall.
Awesome. So why is World Ocean Day important to celebrate?
For us, we don't do a lot around Earth Day because Earth Day, it's a very sort of very crowded conversation. So oceans can become just another environmental cause, and on World Ocean Day, we have the conversation all to ourselves. So we like that. So we put a lot of resources behind celebrating World Ocean Day. I think it's also just an obligation. I mean, this is our day. We're an aquarium where we're all about the ocean. So having an opportunity to really celebrate it, I think we have a responsibility to do that, as well as we're just excited as an excuse, something to get people, local folks, back to the aquarium. You know, we'll have tourists. Tourists will visit us no matter what, but sometimes the local community needs a little spur to come back here. So it's a great way to get people re-engaged with the aquarium and re-engaged with the ocean.
And just to follow up on that, how are you sharing ideas with your aquarium colleagues across the country and across the world with that kind of notion, getting the local community involved?
Yeah, well, we work with the Ocean Project. They've done a great job in coordinating activities, work a little bit with AZA, and they try to pay attention to what's going on World Ocean Day as well. And of course, through all of our professional networks, we do a lot of sharing with our colleagues on, you know, how are you celebrating World Ocean Day? How is it different than how we're doing it? I think it really does. I think it really is important to do it on a community by community basis. So I don't think I can ever see a time when there'll be sort of a set of activities that everybody does on World Ocean Day, because the way that the individual local communities interact with the ocean and how the ocean is important to them is different in every circumstance. So it's important for it to be a very localized celebration.
So given that, what do you hope to accomplish with World Oceans Day this year?
Yeah, like I said, this is an opportunity for us to talk about the ocean in a really positive way, to think about conservation actions and behavior change, and again, in that really positive, hope-based way. We have a very motivated audience already. We know that people who are coming to aquariums, and that's partially through some of the work we did with the Ocean Project. Folks who are coming through our doors, they're already motivated, they're already interested in the ocean. Especially here in Seattle, a lot of them already know all the standard stuff, so they're already recycling, they're already changing their light bulbs. So this is an opportunity for us to get a little deeper with them, show them different ideas and how they can help the ocean in more than just the standard ways. So whenever we do, whether our activity or it's a talk or it's interacting with guests, we try to give them some way to help the ocean that's an individual-based method, a community-based, and a civic-based method, so we can have an opportunity for them to have a much broader impact. I mean, the ocean, because it's one world ocean, it's a very global challenge, just like climate change is. Thinking about ocean health is a very global challenge, so we want to make sure that the solutions that we offer can also have a global impact. And sometimes it's hard for people to understand why reducing single-use plastic might be having a global impact. For people who are ready to do that, great. People who want to do a little bit more, we want to give them ideas like supporting a plastic bag ban, or supporting local communities and using compostable silverware. So it's there's a lot of opportunities, I think, to magnify that impact, and the people who are coming to the aquarium on World Ocean Day are looking for that.
You know, what you said about localism versus the regional approach is fascinating, because I'm looking at your solar panel there and very jealous of the fact that you have made such a huge investment in solar, and if you can do it in Seattle, as you said before, you can do it anywhere. And the conversations in Seattle are so different than the other parts of our country about World Ocean Day. Has anything been surprising to you as you've been there for the last few years about what people are looking for as far as how they can get involved?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I came to Seattle from Florida, and Florida is just it's a very different community, and so I think it was interesting to find that we were just at a different starting point. So people were already like, yeah, I know about that. What's next? What more can I do? And you use the solar program as a great example of something that we're going to be focusing a lot of attention on, because you know, the idea of reducing your carbon footprint in the world is important, and people know some of the ways to do that, but this is sort of a new and unique and innovative way. The community solar program, we have an array on our roof, and that array captures solar energy and places it back into the grid, so it doesn't come right to the aquarium, it actually goes to the community, and people buy shares of the community solar program. And the way we're using it is we're using it as a way to emphasize to people that everybody has an option to purchase green power. They may not be able to put solar panels on their roof, but their energy company has green energy alternatives that they can invest in. So it's one of those sort of next step things that people seem really hungry for.
So with all of that, all of the efforts that you have, how will you know that you are successful this year after World Oceans Day?
Yeah, I mean, some of it is, it seems almost pedestrian to say so, but we hope we get just a ton of people in the door. If people are coming out to the aquarium, and especially if it's a sunny day, because sunny days aren't always really good for us, people would rather spend a nice sunny day out in Seattle. But if we have a really nice attendance, I think that we'll feel like we're having an impact, because we'd like to know that an event centered around the ocean is something that would draw people in and excite their interest. And I think we'll know from the conversations we have on the floor with our staff, with they debrief after. It's real clear usually about what resonates with people, what are they taking home, and what do we think will have an impact down the road. I mean, we have visitor survey studies that we'll look at after the fact and see what resonated with people. It's just that ongoing challenge of trying to understand whether the impact that we're having with them when they're on site goes home with them and creates change. And I think when we work together with groups like the Ocean Project and NMEA, the more often people hear those messages, the more reinforcing it is, and I think the better opportunity we have for creating a real impact.
Mm-hmm. And that has spurred a question from our Twitter sphere here, so I'm going to jump in and ask both of you, is there a way that the public can increase awareness as well, through social media, through events, etc.? So Bill, I'm going to ask you that first. What do you think? Is there a way the public can help in this?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, we directly along those lines, we launched Selfies for the Sea last week to encourage people to show their love for the ocean, what they're doing for the ocean, for conservation, for sustainable life, or making a promise to do something new in their lives to help create more sustainable and healthy ocean. So that's a really fun, easy way for people to take a selfie, post it with the hashtag World Ocean Day on their social media platform, and encourage the friends to do that too, and spread the word. It's really one of those possible word of mouth, viral is overused, but spreading that type of information online, having it fun, have it be empowering and impactful is what we want to do. So that's certainly one way we can certainly get people helping. We also we're trying to integrate conservation asks into events this year. Along the lines of what Jim was talking about a few minutes ago, we're trying to get we're testing the waters this year to see how it works with aquariums and zoos and science museums and schools to integrate an ask related to addressing ocean acidification by buying renewable energy credit from wind power, so you're greening up your energy sources at home or at school, at your office. We're trying to get people to ask more questions about where their seafood comes from, and when you go to the grocery store or the restaurant, ask the people there where if they have sustainable seafood and where it's coming from, how it's farmed or how it's caught. And then with plastics and marine debris being a third major issue we're trying to address this year, Jim's point about plastic bag bans is a good one. I think that's great. And a lot of communities are doing that across the country and around the world. We're also trying to get people to eliminate their junk mail from the source. So average American gets about 41 pounds of junk mail a year. A lot of that's paper. There's a lot of plastic mixed in there. It's a great simple way to reduce it at the source and attack that issue more comprehensively than just recycling the stuff when it gets to your house.
And Jim?
Yeah, I think awareness is a big thing, just like Bill was touching on. We're looking at it again like a way an excuse to start a conversation. So just asking your friends and family and followers on social media if they know it's World Ocean Day can be enough to start a conversation. Hopefully it's enough to help get people interested and find out what they can do. There's lots of, you spend a little time on the internet, you can find something to do. There's an aquarium nearby for a lot of people. They can certainly come to see us, but you can also find a beach cleanup near you. And it doesn't need to be a beach cleanup either. It can be a river cleanup. There's river cleanups all over the country, and nobody's very far from a river or another watershed source. And a lot of that debris, its final resting place is the ocean. So all of these kinds of activities that people could be involved with, you don't need to be near the coast to take an hour for the ocean either. So I think there's a lot of great opportunities for people to be involved and just increasing awareness and reaching out to people and showing people that this is important to you, because a lot of people are really, they get interested in what other people who are important to them are interested in.
I have to say it's fun to watch some of these ideas get put into practice after being in the profession for such a long time, and then having a 5- and 6-year-old myself. We go walking along our local creek here in our neighborhood, and I have to take my daughter back from picking up all the trash because I don't know what it is. She doesn't have clothes on. It's a fantastic problem to have. And I love to see the kind of, to Bill's point, the natural viral nature, whether it's on social media and selfies for the seeds, a great way to share what you're doing outside, and then just the good old-fashioned opportunity to spend time with friends, family, colleagues outside cleaning up our environment. So, Bill, from your perspective from World Oceans Day, why, you've touched on this a little bit, but tell us more about why you're interested in partnering with NMEA and how NMEA and World Oceans Day can work together to affect ocean conservation and action.
Well, to me, it really comes down to networks. My professional life, and my personal life to some extent, it's all about networking, building coalitions, collaborating with others, building the networks and networks of networks to help do what needs to get done. And ever since I started with the Ocean Project, NMEA has been a part of my life. I've unfortunately only been able to make one conference, which was a great one in Victoria many years ago. But the Ocean Project's had a couple people go over the years. We want to try to maximize the networks and help spread the word and help spread the action. So NMEA it's a group of fun, smart, dedicated, passionate people who are right in line with what our philosophy is and what we're interested in trying to do. So I like working with fun people. NMEA is fun people, and you do meaningful things, and you have getting a whole new strategic plan going. You guys have been doing some great stuff recently. Website looks great, and I think there's a lot of potential there to build a stronger partnership.
I'm glad you mentioned some of the ways that NMEA has been growing, because as we've launched our new website in January, the Google Hangouts and part of our extended social media is really a push for us to reach out to people who can't come to conferences and who maybe won't be able to join us in Annapolis this summer, but can participate through the live tweeting, through the connections, and just the way to keep growing professional networks and conversation all year round. And Jim, what possibilities do you see being a member of the NMEA leadership team as we explore these ideas on how to partner more closely with World Oceans Day and their team? What possibilities do you see from your perspective?
Yeah, I think something that resonated with me when Bill was talking about making it more than just a day, because I think, like the Chinese delegation, there's a lot of days, and so if you make it just a day and sort of that falling back under that single action bias, right? Well, I celebrated the ocean on the 8th. So I think the challenge, and it's something that NMEA can help with, is finding a way to make World Ocean Day either the culmination of or the kickoff for something bigger, for a movement for the ocean. You've got a lot of incredibly motivated educators and scientists and other folks within NMEA who are interested in accomplishing exactly what World Ocean Day is trying to accomplish, what the Ocean Project is trying to accomplish. So I think, sort of charging up that network and trying to figure out how we can draw that energy from World Ocean Day throughout the year, whether that, again, is from creating some sort of kickoff or culmination, something that World Ocean Day is the peak of activity and not just a single point of light.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That has been a feedback I've had over the years from various people saying, oh, it's just one day, But, some places it's a weekend, some places celebrate it as a week, some places, the president has, for the last several administrations, designated June as National Oceans Month. It's an opportunity for, like you said earlier, Jim, that it's up to each individual organization or institution or community to focus on what's best in that area, and whether it's a one day or a weekend or a month, or there's more places that are kicking things off, like you guys with your membership drive at NMEA for kicking off at Earth Day and culminating with World Oceans Day. I think what you said makes a lot of sense. A lot of places like to announce something on World Oceans Day and then have it go through the summer. Maybe it culminates with International Coastal Cleanup in the fall in September. There's just a lot of ways to approach it, and I think it's up to the particular host organization or the audience they're trying to reach, or there's a bunch of different variables in there. One of my hopes, just to jump in again, one of my hopes is World Oceans Day is that there's obviously in our best hopes there's a real impact from the day itself for conservation outcomes and impact. But we're also trying to raise the public profile of the oceans through media and increasing awareness among decision makers, and having World Oceans Day kind of be a tide that helps lift all ocean conservation boats. So it's a way to rally the world around protecting the ocean and hopefully enhance everybody's efforts, everybody who's working on ocean conservation in different parts of the world.
Well, speaking on behalf of NMEA, I want to thank both of you for participating in our Hangout. Bill, I want to thank you especially for your motivation to reach out to NMEA in the first place and think about some of these ideas and concepts on how we can work together. The membership drive that is happening will conclude on June 8th, so that's our culminating day, so it means we have about 12 more days of excitement. And there are opportunities for you to join, whether you're a student, whether you're an emerging professional in the first 3 years of your career, whether you're an existing professional or retired. We have membership levels for all levels of professionals. And some of the raffle items that we have are from aquariums around the country. And our grand prize is a very fun GoPro camera, which we really encourage you to join so you can enter this raffle because these are a lot of fun and waterproof, and you can take some selfies for the sea with your GoPro camera and post those. We are 19 people shy of our 100-person goal for our drive, so I'm quite confident there are 19 people in and around our circles of influence who could benefit from being involved in NMEA. And Jim, thank you for your perspective. We wish you the best of luck with your aquarium activities, and we'll be following you on social media to participate from afar. So with that, have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thanks.